I think that now it's as good a time as any to talk about my gear since it's all in a pile on the floor. I'll tell you what I had at the beginning, which is here, and that I sent home. And the things that I bought along the way when the weather started to change. This is stuff that was recommended to me by the director at Emory and Henry's outdoor program since I did their semester trail. Alright, I'll just start. This is the pack that I used the entire way. This is the pack that I started with and finished with. It's Granite Gear Blaze 60. Overall, I think it was really good. It did end up being too big for me because I filled up the pack. I learned how to get rid of a lot of stuff and then I had extra space. So if I end up hiking again, I'm going to get a smaller, much lighter pack because this does have some weight to it also, but it was really good as like a beginner pack. This also came with the pack, but I never used it. It does have a brain. I got rid of that. I lined it with a bag, a trash bag inside. It has these pockets on the hips that are not removable, but they proved pretty useful. Alright, what else do we got? Big three. The tent. I know you all have seen my tent. I never used this bag. I just shoved it in the front of the pack. It's MSR. It's a one-person MSR tent. I'll try and find that and put it in there. Very easy tent to set up. It was too small for me. I mean, I couldn't even sit up straight in it, but I got used to that. If I do end up hiking again, I want to get a two-person tent or at least a bigger one. But MSR is pretty good, so I think if they have a two-person version of this one, then I might end up getting that. I did carry this bag of steaks. That's how I got around. What else? Now, I started with this sleeping bag, which is Mountain Hardware 0 Degree Phantom something. And I ended up sending it back when it got warm because it is very warm. It's very lofty, as you can see. Very, very warm for the colder days. So I liked it a lot. It never got torn or anything. I don't think it ever got wet. So I liked it, yeah. I want to keep it and use it again if I go on colder hikes. But when it got warmer, what I did was I switched. Oh, Wes, come here. Come sit. I went into an outfitter, I think it was in Front Royal, and I bought this one, which is a 45 degree. What is it? Western Mountaineering bag that has open feet spot. What's it called? It's open on both ends, and you can also unzip it. So it's basically a quilt that you can zip up. That one I did get kind of cold in on the nights that it was colder than like 45, but also it was fine. Like I really liked it. I did use these Sea to Summit bags for both of those. This one is smaller for the warmer weather one, and then I also used a bigger one for the 0 degree bag. I used the Thermarest Neo Light. Is that what it's called? The yellow pad that's kind of popular. A lot of people had it. I haven't opened this since I've been hiking, so it's probably gonna stink. I made it the whole way without any pops or any replacements, which is pretty impressive, I think. Oh, about my tent, I didn't have to replace anything, but I did get 1 or 2 tears in the rainfly, and I actually lost the top pole, the pole that goes horizontally across the top, and I did end up using sticks. I'm sure you may have seen in my videos. Sticks to hold up the tent, and that actually worked really well. I have emailed MSR to see if I can get that replaced, but I haven't heard back yet, so hopefully they're just backed up. This came with the air pad. I never used it. I sent it back and I just blew up that thing every night and it was fine. Alright, what else? I used the sleeping bag liner for the warmer one, which needs to be cleaned. It did add some warmth and I liked it. It was a silk one. The fanny pack I wore during the cold months, and when it started getting warmer I stopped wearing it because it would just get sweaty and it would stink pretty bad. I did start with these little booties so my feet wouldn't be cold. I didn't have camp shoes in the beginning, so I wore these around and they worked pretty well, but they are kind of heavy. I don't think they're totally necessary, especially with extra socks. So I might end up getting rid of them since I know that camp shoes are something that I do like. So I wore this Patagonia down jacket the whole time and carried it the whole time. Yeah, I mean I like it. I've never had another one, so I don't know what to compare it to, but that one's still good. Everything that I had, I ended up whittling down to 2 or 3 Ziploc bags. This one had like toiletries, medicine, whatever else, little things. The other one had my cables, charging cables, and my charger. And I also brought those little sketchbooks and kept those in that bag also. This is a black diamond headlamp that I used. It has a red light and white light. It's dead now. But it is rechargeable, it doesn't use batteries, and I like that a lot. That stayed in my hip pocket. Gloves when it was cold, because they helped me so much. When my hands were cold, it was like game over. I really didn't like having cold hands, so I always had gloves, wool gloves, liners, gloves, and rain gloves when it was raining and freezing. You all know I ended up with a Solomon t-shirt in Connecticut. It was fine. It worked throughout the rest of the trail. This is what I used for my water the whole time. I never got sick from water. I never really got sick at all. This is another bag that I carried in the beginning. I had this pillow, which I liked a lot. I will be using it every time I use that sleeping bag. What else do we have? I ended up buying more warm layers for when I was in the whites because it got very cold again. And I needed another set of layers, but I didn't have time to get all my rain stuff sent back and everything else sent back to me. I also bought another hat. I do like having the hats. Let's see. This is the rain jacket that I finished in, and this is the rain jacket that I started with. This one's much heavier and warm. Maybe not warmer, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. It also was hard to wash, but it got very stinky. This is a Marmot rain jacket, and this one is a Patagonia one. It's just like thin layer. This is the hat that I started with. I do like the hats. Here. Some wool leggings, base layer. Smart wool. And my mid layer was an Outdoor Research sweater. I started with really thick darn top socks. I went through socks quite often. Every time I got to an outfitter that would replace them, I would replace them as much as I could. I did start with this buff also. I look back at those pictures or videos and I laugh because it seemed like a good idea also at the time, but I ended up finding out that it just wasn't really working for me. Although they are fun to wear, and it did help when it was cold for the neck. This is the bigger bag that I use for this sleeping bag. It's actually huge, and I didn't even realize that. I ended up getting these Dirty Girl gaiters, which saved me, but they were I wish I had gotten them before it was so muddy, because that muddy experience was so bad. I didn't have gaiters. My shoes would fill up with mud and I would have to rinse them out in the streams, rinse out my shoes and my socks. It was freezing. It was not very fun. And then I got the gaiters. It made things so much easier. I did start with another pair of Solomon gaiters, but they broke on the rocks because they went underneath the shoe. The strap went underneath the shoe and I kept kicking rocks and they broke. So they didn't last forever. And I was kind of disappointed by that, but I used Tyvek underneath my tent the entire time. Same piece. That was pretty good. It flooded twice. Bad time. Mostly it's my fault. I was in a dip. You can tell where other people have been, and it generally pushes down the dirt into like a dip. And then when it rains, the water goes there. It was bad. It was kind of bad. These are the rain pants that I had. Guys, rain pants are a nice idea. What's really fun is that you're gonna be wet no matter what. It's so great. It's just awesome. The thing about the rain pants is when it's cold, you can not die of hypothermia. So same thing with the jacket. Like I didn't wear the jacket if I didn't have to, if it wasn't freezing, because I hate being wet in the jacket, but it's to keep you warm. You're either wet and freezing cold or wet and kind of warm. So, I mean, it's just what it is. I went through 4 pairs of shoes. This was my last pair, and I still probably could wear them. They went 400 or so miles. They're Hoka Speed Goats. The Hokas are really good. I'll show you my shoes that I started with. They were the Solomon Bias. I really liked them in the beginning. They did like hurt my ankles, which is ironic, but I don't really know why I still have them. They're gonna have to go somewhere else. And then this was the first pair of Hokas that I got, which I bet won't fit anymore. You can see how I really wore them out. We have first aid. I ended up not really needing a first aid kit. I had a roll of Coach's tape and Luco tape and KT tape most of the time. And ibuprofen. I didn't take very much ibuprofen. I know some people like to take it every day, but I really tried not to. Or I didn't even think about it until it was usually too late. I didn't like the privies. I know a lot of people like the privies. I prefer, so that worked really well for me. These are my rain gloves, and I had a rain cover as well. The rain cover, it was alright. It did what it needed to, oh, my food bag. I know you all have seen my food bag before. It's just Dyneema. I have the titanium pot, of course, 750, I think. 750, and it has a lid. I carried a Talenti jar inside of it, and then my little stove the entire time. Same stove. Overall, I had pretty successful gear. This stove I've had since the beginning. Most of the things I've mentioned I've had since the beginning, unless it had to do with weather switches. Oh, my poles. You've seen these. My Black Diamond cork handle trekking poles, which are kind of stuck now because I haven't cleaned them. They served me well the entire time. I couldn't have done it without them. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would like another pair. Maybe a cork wasn't always the best, but use what you've got. Yeah, they are collapsible, and like I said, they're stuck right now, so I'll figure that out. Because I do plan on using a lot of this again, if I can. Most of it's fine. There it is. Everything that I have, I believe. And there's not really much else to say about it. It's pretty incredible that I got rid of so much by the end and felt comfortable with what I had, and that was it. That was my through hike of the AT. There's another glove. I gotta go put this away. Thanks for watching.